My wife left me for another man, told me to take our son because she had other plans, then asked me for $30,000, so I gave her exactly what she deserved. It was a chilly Tuesday morning in Portland when my world unraveled without warning. My wife, Emily, stood at the kitchen counter, sipping coffee like it was any other day. Our 5-year-old son, Max, was playing with his plastic dinosaur collection in the living room, roaring in pure joy. I was halfway through buttering a slice of toast when she looked up and said, "I'm leaving you, Josh." I blinked, waiting for the punchline. None came. "I've met someone else," she said, without a flicker of emotion. "I'm moving in with him." My heart stuttered. "What?" She took a calm sip of her coffee. "You can take Max. You're the better parent, anyway. I have other plans, and they don't include raising a child." I was speechless. This was the same woman who once cried over our son's first steps, who used to fall asleep with his baby monitor clutched to her chest like it was made of gold. I wanted to scream, demand answers, beg her to tell me this wasn't real. But she looked hollow, like someone had gutted the woman I married and left behind a shell. "What kind of plans?" I asked, barely above a whisper. She rolled her eyes. "Does it matter? I'm done pretending. I've spent years being a good wife, a good mom. I'm exhausted. I want something for me now. Derek, he makes me feel alive." Derek. I'd heard his name before. A guy from her yoga class. Divorced, rich, apparently spiritual. I should have known. "And the money?" I finally asked. She smirked. "Oh right. I'll need a little to get started. Maybe $30,000. You've got savings." Max doesn't need much. Just enough to get a new place with Derek, maybe travel a bit. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I didn't know what else to do. I'd spent the last 8 years building a life with this woman, shared a mortgage, raised a child, held her through panic attacks, watched her sleep when she was too tired to say goodnight. And now she wanted to trade it all in like a used car. She handed me a manila folder. Inside were already drafted custody papers, where she signed away full parental rights. I stared at them in disbelief. "Why are you doing this?" I asked, my voice cracking. She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "Because I never really loved you. Not the way you wanted." I settled. I thought it would grow, but it didn't. "Derek, he's exciting. You're safe. Predictable." The room spun. Later that night, after Max had fallen asleep curled in my lap, I sat on the floor of his bedroom, staring into the dark. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just felt hollowed out. The woman I had loved was gone. Maybe had never even been real. And all I had left was a little boy who didn't understand why mommy didn't come home to say goodnight. But something shifted in me that night. The pain turned into clarity. She wanted money? A clean break? A new life? Fine. I'd give her exactly what she asked for, but not in the way she expected. And so began a plan, not out of spite, not even revenge at first, but out of necessity. I had to protect my son, and maybe, just maybe, show Emily that walking away from your family with a smirk and a suitcase wasn't the win she thought it was. It's strange how quickly survival instincts kick in when you're left with nothing but a child and a broken heart. I took 2 weeks off work, thank God for understanding bosses, and used that time to stabilize Max's routine. Preschool drop-offs, grocery shopping, bedtime stories. At night, once he was asleep, I sat at my laptop in silence and planned. Emily had left quietly, which meant there was no messy legal battle. The custody papers were airtight. Her signature on the dotted line granted me sole legal and physical custody. I had full control, and for now, I kept it all quiet. I didn't tell anyone what she said when she walked out. Not her family, not even mine. I simply let everyone believe she was taking time to find herself, which was vague enough to avoid confrontation. I knew Emily. She thrived in chaos but hated public judgment. If I exposed her too soon, she'd lash out. I needed patience. What she didn't expect was that I had been documenting everything. For years. Receipts, text messages, voicemails. I'd always kept a private folder with records, mostly for taxes and budgeting, but over time it unintentionally became a digital diary of our entire marriage. Every financial transfer, every therapy appointment, even that drunken night she admitted to a harmless kiss with a coworker in Vegas, saved on an old iPhone backup. I wasn't interested in taking her down. I was interested in leverage. And Derek, her new spiritual soulmate, turned out to be more than just a rebound. He was reckless. After a little digging, I found out he was still legally married and under investigation for embezzlement from a failed startup. Emily had hitched her wagon to a fantasy, not realizing it was headed off a cliff. I hired a private investigator, not to spy on her, but to confirm what I already suspected. And it paid off. Photos of them partying in Tulum while she was supposedly finding herself. A new social media handle where she posted under the name Eve Stone, captioning her posts with things like, "Finally free. No more diapers." No more guilt. She wanted to erase the life she had with me and Max like it was a stain. So, I made sure the eraser was laced with poison. A month later, she messaged me. Emily, hey, just checking in. Can we meet? I want to talk about the money again. I responded politely, playing the role of the emotionally stable ex-husband. I agreed to meet her at a neutral cafe. She looked different, tanned, smug, dressed like someone trying to convince the world she was 25 again. She smiled like nothing had happened. So, I was thinking, maybe we do $15,000 now, and the rest later? Just so I can cover some essentials. I nodded, sipping my coffee. Sure, but there's something I want to show you first. I slid a folder across the table. Inside were two things: a copy of the signed custody agreement and printed screenshots of her Instagram posts under Eve Stone. The captions, the parties, even one where she jokingly called Max my ex's little burden. She paled. You signed over custody, I said, voice calm but cold. And now you're living with a man under investigation. Do you really think any court will give you a second chance? Her lips parted, but no words came. I'm not giving you a cent, I said. You want it out. You got it. Max deserves better than a mother who calls him a burden. She looked like she'd been slapped. I stood, collected my folder, and left her there. I could feel her stare burning through the back of my jacket. The trap was set, but karma was only just beginning its work. 3 months passed. Emily went silent after our cafe confrontation. I didn't hear a word, no texts, no calls, not even a cheap attempt at guilt-tripping me through mutual friends. It was like she vanished, which was exactly what I hoped for. Until the lawyer's letter came. She was trying to sue for joint custody, claimed she had a spiritual awakening, and reconnected with maternal energy after her yoga retreat in Sedona. Her new lawyer argued that she had been manipulated by me into signing away her rights during a moment of emotional instability. I sat in the courtroom, watching her wipe fake tears, claiming she had postpartum trauma, that she was pressured and didn't understand what she had signed. She painted a picture of herself as a lost soul, tricked by an emotionally abusive husband. But Emily underestimated one thing: documentation. My attorney calmly submitted evidence. Video of her saying she never really loved me, recorded from our doorbell cam the day she left. Screenshots of her partying, laughing about being free from motherhood. A notarized voice message she sent to her sister saying, I just need a break. Josh can deal with Max. He's better at it anyway. Evidence of Derek's ongoing fraud case and how she was living with him at the time. The judge's face remained calm, but I could see the shift in his eyes. He wasn't buying her redemption arc. The final ruling was brutal for her. Not only was her request for custody denied, she was ordered to pay $18,000 in legal fees to cover my side. She broke down sobbing in court, screaming about how unfair it was, that she was just trying to heal. She stormed out, humiliated. But karma wasn't done. A week later, Derek was arrested. Securities fraud. It made local news. Pictures surfaced of Emily partying with him at events funded by stolen investor money. Suddenly, she wasn't a free-spirited woman finding herself. She was an accomplice to a financial criminal. Whether she knew or not didn't matter in the eyes of the court of public opinion. Her Instagram disappeared. So did her life coaching business. Her parents, who once blamed me for pushing their daughter too hard, called to apologize. Her own sister messaged me, saying, I'm sorry. I didn't know how bad she'd fallen. But I wasn't interested in pity. I was interested in peace. Max was thriving. He asked about his mom less and less. I never lied to him, but I didn't poison him against her either. I just gave him truth in age-appropriate doses. She's not well right now, I'd say, but you're loved. Always. One night, he asked, Daddy, will Mommy come back? I paused, then answered, if she gets better. Maybe. But right now, it's just us. He nodded. Okay, I like us. That's when I knew I'd won. Not in a courtroom, not in some revenge fantasy, but in the small, quiet triumph of being there when it mattered. Of showing up. Of staying. As for Emily, the last I heard she was couch surfing in Arizona. Burned bridges everywhere. No more Derek. No more spotlight. Just a trail of broken promises and unpaid debts. She once told me I was predictable. Turns out, predictable wins in the long run. Because I didn't need to destroy her. I just let her destroy herself and protected my son in the process. And I'd do it again. Every single time. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.